Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Anna, and today we're going to plant some seeds. I have labeled all the flats for today. We're going to plant lettuce, kale, flowering kale, beets, and cabbage. Once everything is labeled, I will make sure each variety is stacked together with the corresponding seed on top of that stack. Today it is so cold out, about 16 degrees, so I found another heater and put it in the third cooler. This way we can stay a little bit warmer while we work. Normally I have volunteers help me plant seeds, but they were not available to come today. It's probably a good thing since it is so cold we would have a hard time all fitting into this cooler. I am starting with the Touchstone gold beets, and my mom is planting black magic kale, which is a dinosaur kale. When planting beets, we put 3 seeds in each cell. One seed produces only 1 beet, so we put 3 together to get a bunch. A bunch with more than 3 beets tends not to get big enough in size. 3 seems to be the magic number. I will also plant red ace beets. These are your typical red beet, where the Touchstone gold are a golden beet. The black magic kale is a type of dinosaur kale. It reminds me of the Land Before Time movies. Next, my mom is planting Olenbor, which is a green curled kale. This is a new variety to us this year, so we will see how it grows. She also planted red Russian kale. This will get a reddish-purple color in the leaves, and the stems will be purple and sometimes green. Next is red boar kale. This is more of a purple color and is also a curled kale. We also planted improved dwarf Siberian kale. This kale resembles the red Russian with its leaf growth, not the color, and it doesn't get as big. I haven't grown this one in a couple of years, so I thought I would give it a try again. Now I've moved on to fast Vantage cabbage. This is your typical green cabbage, and the name is very fitting. It doesn't take very long for it to grow. Next, I planted red Candy Cabbage. It's a red pointed cabbage and has the same flavor as a regular red cabbage. After all the cabbage, I planted 3 kinds of lettuce. Somerset, which is an iceberg lettuce, Starfighter, which is a green leaf, and Skyfoss, which is a red butter crunch or Boston head. We finally finished planting all the seeds. We stacked them staggered like this for a reason. If you just stack them on top of one another, it could either push the seed deeper than it needs to be in the cell, or because everything is damp, the seed will stick to the bottom of the flat above it, and we don't want that. That just makes more work for me, and I don't have time for that. As you can see, we got the flats planted, and it took a lot longer than I would have liked it to, but I got it done. So now I'm gonna cover them with dirt, and then I'm gonna water them, and then put the saran wrap on them, and then put them in the germination room. So I got dinosaur kale here. I'm just gonna lightly put the dirt on over top to make sure that the seed stays in its own cell. So normally I only put 1 flat in each of those tubs, but because I'm by myself, I know I have a lot to do. I just figured it'd be faster to water them all at once, like that. So I'm gonna water these. Hopefully I've got some water. Hasn't really been working well lately. All right, so I got all those watered. I'm gonna cover them with saran wrap real quick. My fingers are freezing. Gotta make sure the saran wrap is on fairly tight so that the moisture stays in. And then we're just gonna put it on the rack. We're gonna start at the bottom. And we'll work our way up. put the flats on the racks, I make sure there's like a finger's width in between each flat. That way when I go to take the plastic off, it's easy to take it off, and when you slide it on, you don't push the other plastic off, because once it's uncovered, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So finger's width, and then I just push it back till it won't go any further, so it's only hanging over on the one side. That way, sometimes once they dry, they like to stick, and if you put the lip of the shelf in between the cells, the bottom of the cells, they tend to stick, and it's really annoying to get them off, especially the higher ones, where if I don't have a step ladder, it's a pain to get off. So I'm gonna keep covering these. I got this rack full, as full as I want it, and I'm gonna put it in the germination room where it's about between 75 and 80 degrees. So it feels really good in here compared to out there. You can see I decided to leave the artichokes in here for a little bit longer, let more of them pop up since it is so cold outside, and I'd like it to be a little bit warmer in the greenhouse. So they're gonna stay in here for a little bit longer. I'm gonna continue on, hopefully get this done. I don't think I'm gonna get it done today, but it's always tomorrow. Well, it's tomorrow, and as you can see on both sides of me, I didn't get them all finished. So I'm gonna work on that today. I almost got all the kale done yesterday, but I got a few more. And I forgot to cover the bag of media, so it's kind of dry. So I'm just kind of mixing it around, get the moist stuff on top and the dry stuff mixed in between. It's not that big a deal since I will water everything today. So I've got this dwarf kale to do, and then I have the flowering kale and all the beets and cabbage to do. I was really procrastinating coming over here today because it's still cold outside. It's warmer than it was yesterday at 27 degrees, but it's still really cold. And the sun is shining today, which is helpful. I checked the greenhouses after lunch, and it's really nice in there. The soil temperature before I watered was between 80 and 85 degrees. After watering it, it went down to between 65 and 70, which is all right. So everything's looking pretty good up there in the greenhouse. Everything's popping up nice. You may be wondering if it's okay to leave the seeds out all night, not covered up or put in the warm room. It really doesn't make a difference because it's pretty cold in here. It's probably in the 50s, even though it feels colder. When we store the seeds over the winter, what we don't use, we put them in the freezer, which helps keep them dormant. And then when we plant them, when you add the moisture, that helps them to start sprouting and start the germination process. But as you could see, some of these seeds have already cracked open, so they're just starting the germination process, even though they're not covered. And actually, lettuce seed, which is what I showed you, doesn't even go in the germination room. They like it a little bit cooler and lots of light. So once I'm done covering these and watering them and putting saran wrap on, we will put them on the racks with the lights and then turn the lights on. And they usually stay in here for 7 days, 7 to 10 days, depending on how many plants have started to sprout. And when it's really cold out like this, sometimes I'll leave them in a little bit longer, or if it's super hot out, it tends to be a little bit cooler in here, so I'll just leave them in because I like the cooler temperatures. And then, yeah, move them up to the greenhouse where there's more natural light. I feel like they tend to do better with more natural light, but you gotta do what you gotta. You do what you gotta do. One thing I don't like about these little tiny cells in this media, there's a lot of twigs, little tiny twigs in here, and when I try to get the media leveled off, it likes to sometimes throw my seeds out of my cell or into the media. So sometimes once they really start popping up in the greenhouse, you'll see 2 seeds coming up in one cell, or you'll see an entirely different variety popping up, like in the artichokes. That's why there's that broccoli and cauliflower, because we planted those the same day. And lots of times there'll be scallions mixed in, because we do a whole, like, we do a pinch of seed in the cell, and we fill the bottom of the cell. And so they don't always stay in the cells when we cover them. So lots of times you'll see scallions everywhere, which isn't that big a deal. I got all the lettuce covered with media and watered, and now we got to grab this rack and take it over there so that I can, after I cover them with saran wrap, I have the rack over there to put the flats on. All right, now that we got the rack over here, we'll start filling it up. When I put the flats on, I do a finger's width between each flat and just slide it till it won't go anymore. I don't need the flats hanging over on both sides. They tend to get stuck, and I've had flats almost rip in half because I can't just pull it right off. I got to pick up on it, and it's just a royal pain in the butt. So you just slide it right on, and you can slide it right back off, because if it's more effort to make it overhang on both sides, and now it won't move. And it takes longer to unload these things when we got to take them up to the greenhouse. I try to be as efficient as possible. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but. So I finished covering the flats of lettuce with saran wrap and filled up my rack. I'm gonna go move the rack over there so I can plug it in and then turn all the lights on. The lights all work. That's great. All right, I gotta finish doing the beets and lettuce. No, I gotta finish doing the beets and the cabbage, and then I will be done. Now that it's, oh gosh, it's 10 after 2. This is taking way longer than I want it to. So I will finish this, and I'll see you when I'm done. So I finally got these done. It took me about an hour, and my hands are now freezing. So I'm gonna put these in the germination room, and then we can check on those artichokes. Here are the artichokes. Some are up, and a lot more are just starting to come up, and even more that look like they haven't done anything. We planted Colorado Star, which the artichoke is a purple color, and then Imperial Star, which are green. And the Imperial Star don't grow as well as the purple ones. And I planted more artichokes this year because I'd really like to be able to give them to our members, because last year's germination rate was so low that I'm experimenting to see if leaving them in here will increase that rate. Once most of them have sprouted or no more come up, then after a certain time, then I will move them up to the greenhouse. With last year's crop, I didn't think I would get very much. We had enough to sell at the farmers markets and a local grocery store, but that was it. I was very disappointed. At first, they looked like they weren't going to grow because of all the weeds, and then we pulled all the weeds, and surprisingly enough, they started growing, and it looked like we were getting a lot, but it wasn't enough to give out to the members. So that's my goal this year. We'll see what happens. I really hope that they do their thing and we get a good crop this year. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you next time. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.